Now that you've had an opportunity to see the hot action on the racetrack, let's say a little bit about what makes these arena race cars so much fun. With me, founder Ricky Dennis of the Arena Racing Series. Ricky, these cars are incredible. So small, but yet so fast.
Well, they really are. I mean, they're taken from a lot of years of experience to build race cars. I mean, they are real race cars. A lot of people think them half the size, but they're still real race cars from front to back.
He says half the size. They call it half scale. Absolutely incredible. They do speeds of what, 80, 90 miles an hour?
Well, you know, outdoors these cars will run over 115 miles an hour, but I mean, they're not a lot of fun at that. You know, in here we're pushing about 50 miles an hour top speed.
And when they're getting around the racetrack pretty good, you saw that they hit the walls. These things are pretty safe.
They're very safe. They're definitely race cars. They're made to race outdoors if people wanted to, which we don't do. So they're made to run a lot higher speeds than we run. But the cars are very safe. The track is built with all that in mind. The guys never race more than 12 feet away from the wall. So put all that together, they are very safe.
These cars are much like the cars that they have indoors and outdoors. You know, if you go over to a local racetrack in your area, you might find a car with a coilover suspension. These cars have the coilover suspensions.
Yeah, they also adjustable A-frames. These guys and gals deal caster, camber. They have track bars on the back. They deal with tire stagger and bite. Everything that they see on TV on Sunday, the adjustments those guys make, these guys and gals can make in here on these cars and get the same effect.
Now, you're not going to find the V8 or the V6 with the 650 carburetors on top of them. What powers these machines?
It's actually a Honda generator motor. It's a 13 horse to start with. It's making about 22 horsepower when we get done with it.
Absolutely fly in a spec class, so they can't change anything. Now, at your NASCAR tracks, they have safety. You've used a lot of that safety here in arena racing with things like a fuel cell.
Yeah, it's a gallon and a half fuel cell made by Fuel Safe, who builds most of the NASCAR fuel cells as well. So it's a real fuel cell in these cars. You know, we still have the same 5-point safety harnesses. The guys and gals use their helmets. They all use two-way radios, which is another safety aspect, and the fans can come and bring their scanners and listen in.
Now, when we're talking safety, these roll cages, just like you find in a NASCAR Winston Cup or a local speedway, just not as thick as the tubing, but still very safe.
Well, the tubing actually, size-wise, when you get a half scale, we're probably built stronger and heavier than a NASCAR stock car. The cars are about 1 1/8" tubing, where they use 1 3/4. And but you know, all the points are there. It's a very safe race car.
Of course, when you get into one of these race cars, they'll have 5-point safety harnesses. We talked about that. Ricky, why don't you jump in and take a look, and we'll look at the way a driver gets in one of these machines. Now, if we had a body on this car, you would find that we would just simply pop the hatch, as you would say, and he would slide in the race car. He's right now putting on the 5-point safety harness. You got 2 belts that come over the top like he just showed. You have one coming from each side of the driver's body, and then the center belt comes up. They call that the groin lap belt. And it comes across, snaps in the 5 different pieces, and it keeps him locked in to the race car, safe and sound.
Of course, if they see my head sticking out the roof on this car, this is actually our pace car. And the boy that drives the car is younger and a lot smaller than me, so your head would actually be below this roll cage with the body on it and your helmet on it to make it safe too. Because, well, as I say, these guys and gals, they get on the roof, and we don't want their head hitting to the racetrack. So.
You know, the steering wheel he just picked up off the dash, that is a removable steering wheel. The safety advantage of that, Ricky, is?
Well, it's the same thing. If someone were to get hurt, you know, you can pop the steering wheel off. Most of the people have to take this steering wheel off to get in and out of the car. So, you know, it's twofold, really. One, it's just easy to get in and out of the car, and the other is just one more piece of safety we add to it to get this out of the way if we need to.
Some people don't know really how safe a race car is when it gets on its sides. We'll bring over a couple of arena racing officials, and they're going to flip Ricky Dennis on the side. Now, again, I'd say flip him all the way over, but as he said, this car's designed for the pace car driver who's shorter, and with Ricky's head sticking out, we don't want him to have a concussion. So they show him up on the side, and you're not even moving. How safe is that?
Oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, you know, I hadn't been upside in one of these cars, but when you're laying down in them like you're sitting in a recliner anyway, it probably feels more like rolling over in bed more than it does turning upside down in the stock car where they're sitting straight up and down.
And he talks about sitting in a recliner. Look, the legs are all the way up front, protected by lots of different safety equipment with the tubing, and of course the padding as well for his feet. So we still got plenty of time for you to come out and enjoy Arena Racing USA. You too can have fun in one of these machines.